You think you've got my number figured out, a motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. It is basically Friday Junior, folks. It is Friday Junior. The weekend is basically here. Thank you all for joining. John Lithium, welcome. Nadia, Michael Hasser, Looney Tunes, welcome. Tropical Ding Dong, Judgment Free Zone, Soul Life. I've been scrolling past this for an hour and it's still not on. That's literally a lie because that's not possible. The stream hasn't been live that long. Not even close. Nice try though. It is almost showtime. It is here. Manju Misty, welcome. Solidarity with everyone indeed. You gotta add Daniel Moody to your buffet of leftists to evaluate content of. One of these days, I will check that out. 9/11 with Epstein's Lolita Express crashing into a Trump tower. Tagged you. Oh, is that a video? I'll take a look at it. Dakota Dave, welcome. Oh, haha, that's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. The Epstein stuff is wild. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And so it begins another woke, boring episode of A Difficult Truth. After one day cancellation, he comes back to attack me, and all he does is attack me. Your favorite president, all he does is attack. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We've got quite the amount of stuff to go through, so let's just get started, folks. If you want to support the channel, do all the things, and check out all of the links, do all the things, and all the stuff, and all the places. It really does help us out, folks. Yeah, comic strip. I got you. Tumblr. MySpace. No. What's a Bebo? The capitalism, murder, torture, etc. That kind of ups the ante beyond just non-3. 100%. I mean, but like it kind of tracks, right? Like if you're capable of doing those things to children, then like I don't know, it seems like murder and torture, you know, all of that seems kind of like downstream, right? Like you're willing to abuse children. Anything past that, it just seems kind of like downstream, right? I mean, if you're depraved enough to do this kind of stuff, then like what's a murder, right? You know? I feel like some of this, it is so unreal. I feel like I'm listening to QAnon. Yeah, well, that's because Epstein was critical in starting the whole QAnon thing. Welcome to Polymarket Studios. Makes Patrick Bateman look like Forrest Gump. Yeah, Epstein and Bannon started QAnon essentially. Yes. All right, folks, we got plenty of stuff here. This is the comic strip that Nani was talking about. I mean, this is pretty Hans, welcome. Pretty spot on, essentially. Yeah. Pretty on the nose, I think. Hans, welcome. F ice indeed. Sir, a second batch of Epstein files have just hit the public. So before we get into like before we get into the Humanist Report video, this is probably a good preface to kind of just lay the kind of like lay the situation here. Sevens, welcome. Online rightoids on full cope mode. Yeah, just see them spamming denial everywhere. Yep. Chomsky was an anarcho-syndicalist, not a tanky, whatever campus are NFI. Yeah, I think so. I think that was probably more accurate. I wouldn't describe Chomsky as a tanky. Not really. I think that's probably more accurate. Chomsky equals sus. Yeah, I mean, anyone involved in this is sus. Anyone involved, like, I don't know, like, what involvement or what or what degree, if he even did anything, but it doesn't matter, right? Like, I'm sorry, bro. You're there, and you're cooked, right? I don't care what level of involvement or how you didn't know or what you did know. You started to fraternize with people that you should have known. You should have known who these people are, you know? You know it probably. I mean, Chomsky's not a moron. You know, that's kind of like the thing for me, right? Chomsky's not a moron. Chomsky and Bill Gates broke my heart. Yeah, I mean, the Chomsky stuff. Ladybug, welcome. He seems overcooked. Someone left in the roast in the oven and forgot about it. It said that Chomsky was there to help Epstein rehabilitate his image. Last I heard, Chomsky has lost his speech after a stroke, so he probably can't spill the beans. I often try to imagine, how would I act placed in the same situation? I full well appreciate you don't know until you there, but I just can't help but feel like, yeah, I mean, like, the very least, okay, the very least, the very least, it would be something to the effect of like, yeah, I think that maybe not, maybe not like inviting myself or mingling amongst monsters and known monsters is not a great idea. So yeah. several $100,000 millions of dollars ago in small fame defending child rapists wouldn't ever be something I could justify myself, like knowing protecting them. Yeah, 100%. Knowingly protecting them, or even just like mingling, it's the moment this. And by the way, this wasn't even like new news. Like, this was a couple of years ago at this point that like the whole Chomsky thing was coming out. Then that was all I need. That was all I needed. To be honest, like, oh, he was in the Epstein files. It's rumored that he was in the Epstein files, that he was like commingling with like the likes of like Steve Bannon. Yeah, it's gonna be a no from me, bro. I'm out. Yeah, it does seem like plenty of folks managed to find a way to live and like not do that. Yep. Calm down, we can always blame the Russians. I often try to... Chomsky still had bad takes on the USSR. I just want to know who's going to apologize to Brianna Joy Gray for calling out Chomsky. I mean, like, look, I'm not Brianna Joy Gray's biggest fan, but she was right on that. She was right on that. No doubt about it. If this happened in France, it would trigger a full-blown revolution. I hope, like, just kind of piggybacking off that, I hope that this whole French investigation brings more stuff to light. Maybe this is uncharitable, but Chomsky always felt overrated. I mean, maybe there's some truth to that, you know, underneath that, yeah. I mean, like, there was a lot of stuff that I agreed with Chomsky, as far as his, like, politics go, as far as the takes that he's had with politics and issues of the working class. Like, I would say that I agreed with him a lot, but that doesn't change the fact that he threw that all away. And we don't really need, like, a Chomsky or whatever, to do a leftism, you know? We don't need Chomsky to do a leftism, right? But I don't doubt many do something Marx, I think, said about a man not noticing what his salary depends on him noticing comes to mind. Yep. A man not noticing what his salary depends upon him noticing comes to mind. Yeah. We have a much better philosopher speaking called Slavoj Žižek. I honestly, I haven't heard much about Žižek, but man, that debate between him and Jordan Peterson will always be legendary. It was Žižek, right? You didn't even read the book. Alright, folks, let me preface this video with this, because I think it's important. I think this testimony is important.
The next thing I knew, I felt a burning sensation in my arms, legs, and that I had been shot by pepper balls, which I also seen these agents fire at people in our community. As I continued to drive past the Border Patrol agents, I could hear my back passenger window shatter, and I felt bullets continue to pierce my body. As I attempted to drive to a safe location, I began to feel lightheaded. I looked down and I noticed blood gushing out of my arms and legs.
So this is the woman who was shot several times and got herself to the hospital.
And I realized I've been shot multiple times. As I became lightheaded, I became worried I will pass out and then
This is way off, but I mostly have to just listen.
endanger other drivers on the road. I managed to drive a mile from where the incident happened. And I pulled into a parking lot of a mechanic shop and I called 911. I told the 911 operator that Border Patrol agents had just shot me and I needed help. I recall some of the workers from the shop sitting me down in a chair as I was waiting for help, but I was losing this battle. I saw my life flash before me and slowly began to think this was the end for me. And before losing consciousness,
Yes, he debated against Jordan Peterson. Yeah, that's like the one thing I remember Slavoj Žižek for.
the next thing I remember is the EMT putting me on a stretcher, taking me to the hospital. At the hospital, I remember seeing multiple agents standing around, watching me be treated for my wounds. My arms, legs, and chest were all wrapped in bandages. I had 7 bullet holes in my body. I remember the agents rushing the nurses to finish up so they could take me with them. I still felt dizzy. I was not able to fully process what had happened to me. After being at the hospital for less than 3 hours, I was discharged from the hospital and took custody of the FBI. As we left the hospital, I was escorted out through the back in a wheelchair. I observed over dozens of Border Patrol agents waiting outside the hospital. One of the agents came up to me with his cell phone and took a photograph of me. It was the same agent who had previously kept coming in and out my room, and I had to repeatedly tell him to leave.
Thank you for the follow.
I told him I did not consent for him to photograph me, but he did not care. It still haunts me that this agent has my photo on his phone. Was this the agent that shot me? Was this
Just to be clear, like all this photograph stuff is for the purpose of putting you on a database. This was brought to us by a viewer. The level of surveillance, I mean, like the level of information that these people are trying to glean off, okay, by taking pictures and documenting people, is insane.
a trophy for him? I was next taken to the FBI building for further processing because they rushed me out of the hospital so quickly the blood started soaking through the bandages. The next thing I knew, I felt a burning sensation in my arm.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that to me sounds like malpractice. Kicking her out like that seems like she has a case there, but I'm not a lawyer. But I would look into that. But anyway, so we the whole point of this video is to kind of set the stage here for just how grotesque, okay, these ICE agents are. It is a miracle that she is alive. Unfortunately, that is not the case for the other victims who have been shot and killed by ICE and executed by ICE. Not just like people, like citizens out on the street, but the people that are inside the concentration camps too. All of this to say, lo and behold, as it turns out, the people that are in ICE are exactly who you think they are exactly the kind of person that would shoot a woman and fill her with 7 or 8 bullet holes, okay? Yeah. They are exactly the depraved people that she is describing. George Orwell never imagined what would be happening 70 years later. If I may, he probably warned us a little bit, right? He warned us a little bit. For all the problems that George Orwell had, there are certain things that he was absolutely correct about, especially when it comes to breaking down authoritarianism. Or what we call
when you see headlines
authoritarianism.
about the ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo and how they're forcibly entering homes without warrants and illegally detaining thousands of individuals and bragging about shooting people and abducting families seeking emergency medical care for their child and sending toddlers to concentration camps where they're strangling people to death and killing disabled people by abducting their parent/full-time caregiver and not letting them attend the funeral, and even detaining people that just literally saved their lives, you might think to yourself, hey, these ICE and Border Patrol agents, they sure do seem like sadistic, sociopathic terrorist fucks, but are they really as bad as the headlines make them out to be? And the answer to that question is an unequivocal yes.
I mean, like, yes. What? Like, that's why I kind of wanted to use this video. Again, thank you for that, Ladybug. To kind of put that into perspective. There's another video that I couldn't find about the disabled woman with a TBI who was broken out of her car and assaulted by ICE, and she was out. She's right next to her, actually. I think she was right next to her, and I think this is her on the right. And they took her. She said she's disabled. She was just trying to get to her appointment, and they beat her and they messed her up. But she said that what she saw at the concentration camp there was pretty disgusting too. Obviously, it's just something we can only wildly speculate, but I'd be so curious of what socialist of yesteryear would say with the hindsight of history after them. They also believe in eugenics since they executed disabled people. Remind you again that eugenics is pseudoscience. Yep. Oh, she is to her left. Okay, gotcha. Like, what would Marx think of this? The following 2 centuries or so? What do you see a lot that tracked with what he would happen? I mean, like, maybe he would be the kind of I mean, I'm kind of putting words in his mouth, right? And into his theoretical mouth, but I would imagine that he would be saying, like, hey, this is what I was talking about. Like, it didn't come to fruition in his lifetime, but capitalism and crisis and all these movements that ebb and flow from the rise of the fascist movement in the 20s and 30s to now, 100 years later, capitalism finds itself in crisis again, and we have a rise of fascism. I think Marx would be like, yeah, I mean, duh, right?
At least according to people that know them the best, their friends and family. And I say this because a couple of threads in the Ask Reddit subreddit popped up about this very subject. One where family members of ICE were asked about their thoughts about what the Gestapo is doing, and another where family members of the Gestapo were asked about their relationship with said Gestapo member. And let's just say that the families of these modern-day Nazis were more than willing to spill the tea. They described the ICE brown shirts that they know personally as unhinged, insufferable, and extremely hypocritical, since a lot of them come from immigrant communities themselves, or they married an immigrant. And if that wasn't bad enough, they genuinely seem to think that they're victims because of the social rejection that they're currently experiencing as a result of what they're doing. Before we dive into these threads, I do want to show you this pathetic Facebook post from a border agent where he says, some of the loudest critics of DHS on social media are people who grew up with me, shared classrooms with me, laughed with me. They know my heart. They know my character. Yet, now, because of the badge I wear and the job I do, I'm painted as the enemy.
Yeah.
Funny how people can claim to, quote, know you until your mission doesn't match their politics. I'm the same guy you joked with, called when you needed something or had a drink with. I haven't changed. My commitment to protecting people hasn't changed. Only the narrative has.
Nope. Nope. Listen, okay? If by chance, okay, if by chance you manage to find your way into this stream and you somehow are an ICE agent or adjacent, you are the enemy, okay? You understand that, right? Like, you are the enemy of the American people. You are the enemy within, okay? It's not... Oh, wait, hold on. Chat. Thank you, Dakota. 1 second. This is very important. One second. I don't even know if you can hear that. Hold on, I got you. Let's see if I can just take the noise gate out. Yeah, it is the world's smallest violin after all, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. Like, oh, you're so sad that people are being mean because you decided to be a member of the Gestapo. Yeah. No. Yeah, and you can also literally quit at any time. You can stop being a Gestapo piece of shit at any time, okay? So again, if you happen to have strolled into this stream and you know someone or are someone that is in ICE, just quit, bro. If you just quit. Just quit. If you're still in DHS, if you ever think joined it myself, the commitment was never to protect people. Yep. Unlike a lot of right-to-right grievances, the left, such as existence in the godforsaken blessed hellscape we call the United States, problem is literally your actions. Yep. I agree with Tom Hartman on that. Homeland is a racist term. I think it's like the nationalistic undertones is what, I don't know, like it does invoke like very heavy like nationalistic undertones, which always leads to in-group, out-group, which always ends up being it always ends up playing on a race dynamic. So yeah, I think I see where he's coming from with that.
My heart truly breaks for this Nazi, truly. Because now that people who know him are no longer ignorant about what he actually does for a living, which is to hunt human beings, he's becoming a bit of a pariah and an outcast in his social circles. This is truly so sad. Sir, listen, if you're watching, I know you're probably feeling a lot of really dark, unnerving thoughts right about now, and I just want to encourage you to definitely listen to those thoughts. Definitely listen to the voice in the back of your head that is telling you to do a certain thing right now. Please. For the sake of all of us. But that post, it just gives us a small glimpse into the victim mentality of some of the most evil fucking people in the world. But without further ado, I want to hear from how repugnant they are from their friends and family.
Yeah, so just to be clear, like, yeah, there's no excuse in 2026 to be an ICE agent and not be a piece of shit. Like, does that make sense? There's no way that you are an ICE agent right now and you are not a piece of shit.
So Reddit user Lokia asked, if you know an ICE agent personally, what's the relationship like now? And here's some of the responses that they got. Know a Border Patrol guy, he's European, English is his second language, married an American, moved back to France for free IVF, moved back to America, adopted 2 Chinese children, joined the Border Patrol, hates all immigrants openly, does not see the irony, tells stories about getting his dog to falsely alert on people who he thinks aren't respectful enough. Real piece of work. I'm not in the US, but a friend moved there illegally, overstayed visa in November of 2024. She's dating a guy that works for ICE.
Oof. Yikes. Can you imagine dating one of these freaks? Can you imagine dating one of these freaks? Yeesh. Yikes. Most Americans are not even of North American origin. Changing the name from Homeland to Internal would be better. Yeah, I mean, like, whenever people talk about the homeland in that way, it just feels weird, nationalistic.
And neither of them sees how nonsensical that is because she doesn't look/act like a criminal. Guy is a full-blown white nationalist and his social media posts are vile. Last time I spoke to her was around July. I asked her how she was okay with all of this being illegal herself, and she said she didn't care because they're cleaning up the country. Actual cognitive dissonance, I'll say. This guy that used to run in one of my friend groups from college always said he wanted to work in any federal law enforcement agency. He got rejected from the FBI and DEA. The guy was always a bit of a dumbass, so that didn't surprise me. I never liked him much, so I rarely saw him outside of group hangouts. Well, turns out he finally got his wish to join the feds because he signed up for ICE through their recent recruitment drive. But
Yeah. Agreed on. Carlos, you should in fact be quitting if you are part of the American SS. I agree. Erkenstein's monster, welcome. Bonus points if you're on your way out. You should just, as so happen to accidentally leak the DHS personnel list. I mean, I can't, listen. If you are truly a good person and you feel like, what is happening has gone too far and you are about to quit ICE, that part is between you and God. But let's just say it wouldn't be bad, like morally speaking.
thing is, our friend group is all Latino and mostly first or second generation at that. He got kicked out of our friend group chat and isn't invited to any group functions. Multiple people told him directly they never wanted to hear from him again. Since we're all years past college, we're pretty busy, but make the time for 2 or 3 big reunions a year so everyone can see each other. The friends in the group who normally plans these for us told him he was not invited for being an asshole who will terrorize his own community for money. Last I heard of him, his girlfriend, also Latina, broke up with him and he just hangs out with his coworkers now. No one from our college group will talk to him anymore. Aw, poor thing. My second cousin is an ICE agent.
Yeah, so that's exactly how ICE agents should be treated. That's exactly how ICE agents should be treated. Okay. Violent Quinn law, they might chuck you in prison for a while if they catch you, though. Yeah, that's why I'm not advocating to do any crimes. I'm just saying, whatever happens is between you and God. But if a list of all these ICE agents does come out, then oh well.
He failed the NYPD psych eval 3 times, if that tells you anything about his character or intelligence. We never really had a relationship, but we definitely won't now. I have a cousin who's ICE. He seems to be angry at everyone. Lots of "you don't understand the horrors I've seen" and "be grateful of your ignorance" type messages. He thinks he lives in reality and everyone else is blinded by propaganda and ignorance. That's ironic. My wife's ex-husband married one. She's ironically an immigrant herself and truly the cruelest, pettiest monster I've come across in my life. And this person goes on to explain how she made his life a living hell. We're not going to get into all of that, but just these people are terrible. My brother-in-law is a border patrol agent who now works in the office. We always thought he was a
Trump also failed the university exams. I think that's how anyone from this administration will be treated once the time is up. Yep. They're going to be pariahs. They're going to be social pariahs, as they should be. As they should be. These people think they're super intelligent. You're the dumbest. I agree. The Dunning-Kruger effect.
giant asshole. Now we really think he's a giant asshole. The only people who love him are his brainwashed wife and his, quote, Christian family. Oh, by the way, he's Mexican and his grandparents are immigrants. Let that sink in. He has special training coming up. He disappears for weeks on end to other states. I imagine he's just going to be an asshole behind a mask on the news soon. Edit. Yep. Turns out I was right. He's currently protecting the ICE building in Minneapolis. Wow, I should play the lotto. My uncle by marriage became an ICE agent, which was really surprising. He's bilingual and he and his parents came here from from Mexico in the 80s when he was a kid. He's apparently really on the everybody should do it legally train. That's interesting since they're just going after people who are doing it legally. Anyways,
Yeah.
this person says, as far as our relationship goes, I don't really actually talk to him much. He and my aunt live out of state and we've never really been close. My ex is now an ICE agent, huge piece of shit in his personal life, so I would expect him to be one in his professional life as well. He was a fat piece of shit in middle school, a fat piece of shit in high school, and a fat piece of shit cop, and now he's a fat piece of shit ICE quote agent. My nephew is ICE. Got in a fight over the weekend with my family because I voiced opposition to ICE. He was nice as a kid and shy, never started problems. I'm honestly shocked he joined ICE. Guess people change.
Yeah, people can get radicalized. People can get radicalized and end up, working for the Gestapo. He's on, this is my paycheck, so I'm a justified however I need to train. Yep. Yep.
A buddy of mine from high school.
Listen, but that's the thing, right? That's the thing. Hey, we all gotta eat, but we also don't need to be the Gestapo to eat, right? I don't know, man. I can't speak for everyone, but I feel like there's so many other things that could happen before before I end up I feel like there's several paths, okay? There's several paths that can probably be carved out here. But before we get to I'm going to join the Gestapo, right? Gestapo is actual police, but they since they are not, I call ICE the American SS. I mean, I know the terms are different. I guess the reason why is the Gestapo is the secret police, and ICE is a secret police, but they're also not police in the sense of law enforcement. So I get what you're saying. I don't know, maybe there's actually two fundamentally different in kinds of humans, those who accept existence on any terms and those who won't. Yep. No dignity, sense of value of some folks, it seems. Yep. And that isn't to excuse their decisions, but you could even say that capitalism drives people to think that way. You could say that capitalism drives people to think that way. It doesn't excuse their decisions, but yeah.
Signed. He was always a huge piece of shit. Guy from high school became one this month and literally arrested his no-status wife and had her deported. Jesus Christ. Friends,
man, I mean, do we need to go any further than that? I mean, this guy became an ICE agent, arrested his wife, and then deported her. So, yeah. IOC also called ICE a group of thugs, by the way, 100%.
boyfriend. Known him 9 years. When I first met him, he was an okay dude. Typical veteran who enjoyed guns and ranted about the government. Nothing too extreme. During COVID, he got deep into red pill content, started saying racist and homophobic shit he had never said before, talking about needing to be an alpha and head of the household and other shit. He paid $2K for a multi-level marketing scheme for reselling military gear and, of course, never saw a dime back. He did 6 months working at Border Patrol a couple of years ago. He has actively tried to join ICE, but my friend refuses to move to Texas so he can do it. And before you ask, she won't leave him because she's convinced she financially can't afford to. We've tried many times to show her she actually could.
That's so scary, man. That is so scary. I feel so bad for her. Like that is nightmare scenario, okay? Like that is nightmare scenario. Being stuck with a partner like this? Jesus Christ. There are criminals, there's no way around that except maybe like Chuck Schumer does. True! When one deports their own wife, I feel like we're getting into dogs instinctively growl and bark at you levels of evil. 1,000%. 1,000%. Those getting that non-existent 50k bonus to commit state-sanctioned gang brutality. Yep. Cognizant welcome.
And have offered to help her move, but she won't do it. My younger brother joined for the money. I don't speak to him now. It's heartbreaking and will most certainly create a larger wedge throughout our greater family as people slowly start choosing sides. His indifference and greed are cancer destroying a family. Fuck ICE.
Yeah, and
my
just,
cousin
just
joined.
to be clear, like this isn't a disagreement on quote unquote politics, okay? In the sense that in this normie sense of thinking about politics, right? Because obviously, to do the meme, like almost everything is political, right? But the people creating this divide are them. They're the fascists are the ones that are creating this divide, okay? They're the ones that are actively choosing, okay, to join the secret police brutalizing minorities and killing citizens and killing people in concentration camps and arresting children, okay? This is beyond politics, okay? As colloquially as the normies understand it. This is beyond politics. You are just a disgusting freak, okay? You are just a piece of shit. You are the worst of us, okay? You are the worst of us as far as human beings go, okay? You are the worst of us. And if people don't want to talk to you because you are a piece of shit, that's on you, buddy. You can, at any given point, you can be like, well, maybe I can stop being a piece of shit, acknowledge what I did, and then try to be a better person. You can do that at any point, okay? You can do that at any point.
ICE. We no longer speak and likely will never speak again. We are both first-generation Mexican immigrants. Our fathers put us through school, picking crops with no legal status. Last thing I told him was that if he was willing to sell out his morality for $50K,
That's not coming, by the way.
he may as well just start sucking dicks. Probably more lucrative and more moral too, might I add.
Yeah, and way more moral. What are you talking about? Like, there's literally nothing wrong with that, okay? There is something disgustingly amoral about rounding people up based on ethnicity, based on quote unquote legal status, right? There is something disgustingly amoral about shooting your fellow citizen. There is something disgustingly amoral about brutalizing a disabled woman. Nobody cares if you suck. Nobody cares if you suck dicks. Okay, that they're literally like that is like literally nothing. Okay, yeah, but that would require introspection. True. Very true. But hey, they're adults. Okay, they can do that at any given point. And until then, they should be ostracized from society. I imagine a lot of that, there's not mountains of incentive and permission structures built in to excuse this evil because it benefits the ruling class, whereas if you're just like randomly serial killing, yeah, it doesn't really benefit the capitalist state generally. Yep. I think not. I'm sorry, I am a new chatter, but I need someone to see this because this is insane. Nick Adams is one of Trump's writers. So yeah, I don't really care about Nick Adams. I really don't. Who cares? Fuck Nick Adams. How's that for comment? Quaximus, welcome. Yep. What, you thought this was like a safe space for MAGA or whatever? Get the fuck out of here. No, it's funny because you're so insane. True. Get the fuck out of here, loser.
My brother became an ICE agent for the money because he has no skills, a big ego, and 4 kids he never planned on. I haven't spoken to him in over 2 years. I was already excommunicated by the rest of the family because I wasn't Christian enough. I'm sure ICE will turn on him the moment they run a DNA test and find out we're mostly Mayan and Ashkenazi Jew. I keep a spare room open in case any of his kids ever need to get away. Fuck ICE. Now keep in mind that this is just a small sample of the hundreds of responses that came in, but I did notice some common themes after reading through a lot of this thread. One was that a lot of the people said that the ICE agents they knew were egotistical, and a lot of them became radicalized politically at some point. They're also very, very oblivious to their own hypocrisy in many cases, and
yeah,
a lot of them,
there's no critical thinking, right? Like it's all there's no critical thinking. It's all vibes, right? It's all feelings. Okay, like if you ever had the displeasure of talking to any of these people, there is no actual like thought being there's actually no thought process. Let me rephrase that. There's no rational thought process that's being had here. There is no rational thought process. Oh, actually, I forgot to do something. 1 second. There we go. Heat, how's it going? Yeah, it's all emotional and vibe based. Yep. Was it Pet the Cat? Luigi not happy. I feel like immigrants are why I can't get a factory job. Yeah, exactly. Like, well, what actual like evidence do you have of that? Oh, well, I don't know. Like, that's just what I saw on Fox News.
and were just huge pieces of shits in general who originally wanted to be cops but failed. So that's kind of funny. I will admit I did sense a little bit of naivete from some of the posters who tried to rationalize what their ICE family members were doing. You saw some of that.
I hate the term vibes when used in this context because why is the vibe bad for them? I mean, it isn't, right? They're just vibing with what feels good to them, and what feels good to them is brutalizing people and being xenophobic and racist. And being what vibes for them is being able to express that without being pariahs.
There were others who were saying something like, well, you know, they have kids and they need the money, so they don't want to do it, but they have to. And to that, I just have to point out that is no fucking excuse. You don't get to commit terrorism because you are impoverished. Destroying families to support your own family doesn't make you a family man or a family woman. It makes you a sociopath. Your family is not more important than the families that you're harming. Those families that you're harming have the same dreams for their family that you have for yours. They also feel pain, much like your family. But, I mean, I don't know why I'm wasting my breath, because you can't expect sociopaths to feel...
Yeah, to actually understand that. And I refuse to read any literature on politics, economics, or otherwise in considering this strongly held opinion I have. This is a very, very, very consistent theme. They just cannot be bothered to come up with a correct explanation. Yep. I'm impoverished. I cannot be bothered to even try to actually learn why that justifies my right to indiscriminate terrorism. Yep.
Empathy, and regardless of the pretty little lies that they tell themselves,
because Daddy Trump said it was like the gross brown people, you know, not like me, of course, you know, it's those brown people.
Money will never, ever be a good reason to be a terrible fucking person. But on that note, some ICE agents are actually voicing frustration because they're not actually getting paid as well as they expected for their terrorism. But I do want to circle back to the different Reddit thread that I brought up before we talk about that, because money is going to come up again in this different thread where user Aggressive Honey asks family members of ICE, what are your thoughts and feelings about what ICE are doing? And here's some responses. Had a friend who, after he graduated, joined ICE. He never struck me as a MAGA or some right-wing extremist, so I talked to him about it. He said the money was the biggest factor. He didn't go through any training that was mandatory, and since I'm working in mental health, dude came over to my home just so he can practice de-escalation. So I taught him de-escalation and painless soft restraints. Last time I heard from him, he said he was going to try and get a different job as he couldn't handle all the screaming and the shouting. Okay, that's good to know. It works, right? Honestly, I was just shocked he wasn't trained at all. He didn't even know basic restraining techniques. Okay, but they go on. Yeah, so that's a sign that bullying works in some cases. A cousin of mine...
Right, because if it's the person that's like not a psychopath, they don't last long. Like, that's what I'm saying. Anyone in ICE right now is there because they want to be there. Anyone in ICE at this point is there because they want to be there. I always had bad vibes for Kenny Clip. I think he's going to do a Matt Taibbi at any moment. I don't think so. I think he's a real one. Why the hell is woke humanist report? Do yourself a favor and stop attacking me. Doesn't he ever say nice things about me? You know, I'm your favorite president, high ratings. Nobody gets more ratings than me. They're getting paid in dopamine hits. Yeah, the psychopaths that are still in ICE, absolutely. Like, absolutely. Absolutely. There might be a few doing deep cover investigations, but 90% at least know where they are. And they are happy with it. Yeah, 1000%. Because like this, like that previous story said, like as soon as like the moment like reality hits, they're out. Like any normal human being, okay, spends more than like a day realizing what this is. That's it. Can we talk about the Secretary of Commerce bringing his children to Epstein Pedo Island? I mean, they're all implicated. A lot of Trump's inner circle are implicated. This is not a surprise. They're all disgusting. They're all disgusting pedophiles. And it is yet to remain to be seen if any consequences are going to come from this. But yeah, this is all this is all out there now, or at least somewhat out there. I bet Ryan Grimm will go to the dark side before Kenny Clips does. I mean, I don't know. Like, Ryan... I may be speaking on ignorance, though. Ryan Grimm... From what I've listened to him, he definitely... I think I trust Kenny Clips more than him, but, I mean... He seems pretty okay. Is Ryan Grimm wearing a hairpiece? Nah. Looks like my boss is driving us to Virginia Beach for work this weekend. Now I see why he didn't tell me. He said he'd never come back here because he makes no money like 2 weeks ago. Yeesh. I'd say he has something on all his people, and the island seems to be the common one.
Who is British.
If Grimm flips, things are actually quite grim. Seriously. Yeah, if Ryan Grimm flips to the dark side, like, I mean, yeesh. Yeesh.
But lives in the States, announced the other month that he was considering joining ICE. My grandmother, a woman that lived in the UK illegally for 60 years before getting citizenship, and his own mother let it be known that if he ever returns to the UK, he will not be welcomed by the family because of the shame he has brought with his ridiculous right-wing views. His own brothers have also warned him not to return to the UK. This is a badass family. My closeted racist cousin's husband joined and dropped the news at Christmas. It went over like a lead balloon. He's an ex-PA state trooper who foolishly quit to open a brewery, failed, and a restaurant, failing. He's also a degenerate gambler who likely has large gambling debts. He signed up because of the $50,000 bonus and overtime opportunities. Figured he can make $150 to $200K this year. Never mind, he has to relocate to Michigan and is leaving my cousin to close down the restaurant, sell their home, and wrap up her nursing career at the local hospital. Her parents completely disapprove, and this is both their second marriages, doing whatever it takes to make it work, but going right over the cliff in the process with him. It makes me sad because she's attractive and always has had a good career and work ethic, just married two guys who are incredibly poor husbands. I'm always reminded that when my sister tried to join ICE, she was deemed unfit during the psych evaluation for being too empathetic but passed all the physical qualifications. That was in the early 2000s.
Yeah, the bonus that never happened, by the way. There's, like, didn't we see, I don't know if we went over it here, but I saw that like, there's ICE agents complaining on Reddit that they're not getting their, that they never got their bonus.
Is just forming. That tells you all you need to know about how much of a psychopath you need to be accepted. This is especially true when you realize they lowered the standards under Trump because they couldn't get enough qualified people to join. Holy shit. I have a cousin who is trying to get a job with ICE. He's very low IQ and very loud politically, so I'm not surprised. I have zero desire to ever...
Oof. You can't hear it, but I'm playing They Might Be Giants, your racist friend, in the background. And fascists have the outfits.
My brother, he went nuts one time when I posted a definition of fascism on Facebook. I didn't tag him, didn't include him in any way. He just saw the definition and took it personally. Later, when I was expressing concerns...
Yeah, there's a lot about that, Bruno, about Epstein being basically a Mossad, essentially, like a Mossad asset with the explicit purpose of basically being a honeypot, right? Like, get all this dirt from the most powerful people in the world. And I think a lot of it's not just like the Israeli government that's in on this too. It's the Russian government as well. Sing it. I don't need...
But my wife, who is an immigrant, he physically attacked me. That's the kind of person...
I don't need a rationale to sing the International.
In their recruiting. My older brother, who is technically a white nationalist, is a Mexican boy from San Diego who believes over half the people around him are leeches and illegals, and that by putting them where they belong will suddenly make him more successful. He was kicked out of police academy for something I was never told, but he swears that it was some black guy with a vendetta. Oh, I'm sure. He just recently joined ICE, but he got arrested for drug charges last week, LOL. Meanwhile, my sister gets detained by ICE for a couple hours visiting her BF, and a victim blames her, saying she dresses gay and weird, so she's an obvious suspect. Needless to say, ICE is where dumb, hateful cucks go to feel important. Great point. My brother joined ICE a few years back and got fully sucked into MAGA propaganda. He constantly shares invasion at the border memes and talks about saving America. He used to be chill, but now he justifies separating families. I've called him out on the fascism, dehumanizing people as threats.
Oh boy. Look at that. I don't think escorts are legal here. Yeah, let's see. Why did you ban me on Twitch and time me out? And tell me to F off and call me MAGA for just saying some dumb Trump guy said something silly. No, what got you axed was you're insane. Hope that helps.
No due process. He just says I'm brainwashed by the left. One of my cousins, I'll call him Jay, joined last summer. He's got some incel vibes, but didn't seem...
You're insane, says the person who decides to go into YouTube chat. Okay, so it makes the effort to create some kind of throwaway YouTube chat to just come back here again. I just said, what are you talking? You're just being rude. I didn't do anything. You know, we can see your chat history. If this is the same person on Twitch that decided to come over on YouTube, you know, we can see your chat history, right? You know that, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. Being gaslit in real time. It's fantastic. Leave the new chatter alone. No, this person decided to insert themselves. Like, how do you think that we can't see the chat history? Like, I'm confused. Do you think that, like, you're gonna come here and gaslight me when I can see your chat trying to get me to... First of all, Red Flag is trying to say anything about Nick Adams, okay? And then when I'm like, okay, screw Nick Adams, and the conversation ended with, you're insane, that immediately just makes me think that you are just a right-wing troll, and you were axed. And then you decide to come to YouTube chat. Let me get this straight. You decide to come to YouTube chat after calling me insane, right? And pretending like none of that happened. Amazing stuff. Fantastic stuff, I tell you.
Very conservative. So it was a surprise to me. When he posted about it on Facebook, most of the family expressed disappointment. He decided to double down.
Yeah, the eye of Carlos sees you.
On it and made some pretty insulting comments to family members and started posting dumb Trump memes and tagging us.
They did everything right and he still banned them.
Send them. They mostly blocked him on social media. Jay was not invited to Thanksgiving or our family Christmas party. When he saw photos of the Christmas party on Instagram, he started texting us and begging to be included again. Nobody responded except my aunt, not his mother, responded with screenshots of the terrible things he said. Last week, Jay quit because he was worried about getting hurt. Now he's texting me asking if he thinks people will welcome him back now that he quit. He doesn't seem to understand that the damage is done. One of my other cousins joined the Navy a few years ago, and the family was really supportive and proud. And I honestly think that Jay expected a similar response, and now he's in a really shitty emotional state because the family essentially kicked him out. I feel bad, but he's also been such an asshole about the whole thing that it's tough to have much sympathy. My advice would be to show him as much sympathy as he showed to the immigrants that he terrorized. There's more.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look, it doesn't mean anything if you don't if you look, everyone has a redemption arc, okay? Everyone can play that redemption arc, okay? But you have to do the action to show that you are a changed person. Like, you quitting ICE, okay, doesn't mean that you've changed as a person. You're realizing that the consequences are coming home to roost, right? That's what's happening here. You want to pretend like there are no consequences. You want to pretend like you can just go back to normal when that's not how that works. Anyone can choose the arc of redemption, but you've got to put in the work. That means you've got actions to do, my friend. You've got work to do, okay? People aren't just going to accept you back because you quit ICE. People aren't going to accept you back into their families because you said that you're done with that. It's not about that. The damage is done. Now it's your job to pick up your stuff, okay? So get to work. Nobody's going to do it for you, and you have to make that choice yourself. I can't make that choice for you. Your family can't make that choice for you. Nobody can. You have to make the choice to say, I fucked up. I'm a big piece of crap, and now I've done a lot of damage. And get to work in fixing that damage, okay? Because it's done. What you did and what these people have done, it's there's no going back, okay? You can't untraumatize the families that you traumatized. Choices have consequences. Choices have consequences. So if you don't want to be that guy, if you don't want to be that person, then get to work. Then get to work. Vidingale, welcome in, rating in with the party of 13. Thank you so much. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome Captain Conundra, Stephanie, Carla's, Scary Library, Tails and Wings. Thank you so much. Welcome Pendulous Dragon. Thank you for the follow, Captain Conundra. Welcome. Hey, folks, if you haven't seen me, I'm A Difficult Truth. I do the news. I do the politics. We're here Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Catch me on this space every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Vidingale, thank you so much for bringing your wonderful community, folks. If you haven't done so, please go check out twitch.tv/Vidingale. Thank you so much for rating. I appreciate it. And let's return the favor, folks. Please go show some love. New Vegas, welcome. Saris, welcome. It do be funny how the people who make banging on about personal responsibility and everyone else's lack at its core of their political identity are also the people who seem to display it the least. Always, 1000%. Thank you so much.
My brother works for ICE. I am pissed at him and generally don't talk to him. He started going full MAGA just before joining ICE and completely drinks the Kool-Aid now. He dropped out of college, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's not an indicator of being a terrorist, but whatever. He lives in another state, so I don't have to associate with him. He talks to my other family members about how all immigrants are rapists, murderers, and drug dealers, and he thinks...
I wonder where he got that talking point from. They're bringing drugs. I wonder where he got that talking point from. Appreciate that, Vidingale, and right back at you, folks. Hey, please go return some love, go show support, go subscribe, go follow, please. Like, I'm pretty sure you can say pedophiles again. Of course you can. Of course you can. I was just in a tunnel under the ocean and lost signal. They usually use cell boosters or something for the tunnels. I wonder if they can't hear because of the military submarines. Oof. Bring back Nightbot. Nightbot's not with us. They are what they are. True. Hey, welcome. I don't know if I said hello, Pendulous Dragon.
He's doing God's work. He refuses to see that Jesus actually taught us to love our neighbor, i.e. immigrants. I have a second cousin in CBP that I spent a lot of time with as a kid.
Oh, yeah. Your videos would get demoted and stuff. Yep.
He was a bully as a kid. He's still a bully 35 years later. I have a friend whose two
YouTube
grandsons
still doesn't
joined.
like it.
She is disgusted and sad.
YouTube still doesn't like it, but whatever.
She tried to speak with them about the dangers of ICE, but they were very gung-ho and especially excited about the financial rewards. They and their parents all quit speaking to her because they knew she was against them joining, so she has no idea where they are or what they are doing. She is quite worried as well as angry and fears hearing their names or seeing them on the news. It is dreadful. My sister-in-law just joined, who I do love very much. It's heartbreaking for me in a way I can't describe. She lives in Kansas and is a college grad but couldn't find work anywhere and is excited for benefits. I told her that once she works for ICE, she'll never find work ever again. Once the dust settles, this is basically the Scarlet A. Yeah, and I feel like that last point is crucial.
Yep, that's right. So again, if you manage to somehow stumble across this stream and you are in ICE or know somebody in ICE, yeah, that the pendulum is going to swing back, okay? And it's going to swing back hard. You will be unemployable, okay? You will be a social pariah. Nobody's going to like you. Nobody's going to forgive you because you decided to stick through it. So this is your warning. Fox was just speaking out against the 2A, and a right-wing caller wanted to know why kid living was a bad thing. They have no real beliefs, just ugly shit they're told to like. Yep. You raiders should subscribe to the channel so Carlos can raid other channels too. Yes, if you're on the YouTube, please If you're on the YouTube or can go on the YouTube side, we're trying to get to 1,000. 1,000 subscribers gives us so many different options you wouldn't even believe, and including the options to raid people. What are you even thinking? What are you even thinking when you joined the SS? Right.
Because if you're desperate enough to think that joining the Gestapo is the only way you can support your family, you're going to eventually leave your family out to dry.
Yes, it is the same. It's the exact same one. Exact same one. Everywhere. Judgment Free Zone, thank you for the gifted sub. I appreciate that. Thank you.
One day in the event we ever have new Nuremberg tribunals, because I was just following orders, is not going to be a sufficient legal defense. The Nazis found that out the hard way. And I can't speak to all families, but I'm sure that most normal families...
Hey, another gifted one, gifted tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hermit Neurologist. Can I subscribe more than once? In a manner of speaking, yes.
Would prefer that you find a normal job, even if it's in fast food or retail. Those are perfectly reasonable jobs that you're not too good to do, right? Because that's better than the Gestapo, where you're going to commit crimes that you may one day be punished for. But I mean, it really is satisfying to know that all of these brown shirts who are signing up for money because they think they're going to get rich deporting immigrants, well, they're getting the same treatment that Trump gives to all of the sad sacks of shit that sign up to do grunt work for him, because the Daily Dot reports that ICE agents are now whining about getting stiffed in their now private subreddit. One said that they've been working for 4 weeks without pay. Another talked about how they still haven't gotten any health insurance even though they've worked for 2 months. So sad. In a thread where one Nazi asked if the other Nazis received their bonuses, one complained that they did, but it wasn't enough. Another said that they still didn't even have their base pay that they were expecting. And financial complaints aside, in a thread about a hotel canceling a reservation for ICE, one brown shirt reminded new agency hires, quote, "We are not respected or liked in many places. Be discreet and careful with information you share. OPSEC is for everyone at all times. Don't forget about the people who hate you for your career. They certainly won't be forgetting you."
And you know what? Yeah. I think we won't forget. I think we won't forget. Piece of shit Nazis. Anna, welcome. I'd love to see the modern day safe catchers get screwed. Yep. You'll love to see it. Wolfglen coming in hot with a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. Hey there, welcome, and I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, resub hype, indeed. Jeremy didn't get to pick at the end who was charged with what. It was the UK, US. Yep. Merging on a hype train, true. Everyone, I probably don't agree with most of this, but hope y'all let me hang out. I mean, like, the basic gist of it is if you're not, like, if you support ICE, then you're just, like, disgusting and probably is not a good idea, to be here. In fact, nobody wants you to be anywhere, actually. Just get out. You know what I mean? Because that's how we treat Nazis. But other than that, the bare minimum standards is not be a fascist prick. I think it's a standard that we can, I think that's a fair standard. I think. Heat with the 100 biddies, Judgment Free Zone with the 500 biddies, with the kicking off the hype train. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sad Sapphic, welcome.
I mean, yeah, that sounds pretty tough. Might I recommend getting a real job, fellas? Have you thought about doing that? Because being a member of the modern day SS Gestapo, that's not a career. It's a moral failing that'll render you a societal pariah for the rest of your fucking life. And I mean that. Like, even if you one day come to your senses and reverse course and apologize, no amount of I'm sorries are going to undo the damage that you caused to countless lives. An apology isn't going to erase the perpetual trauma that millions of people are going to experience because of you and your ilk. Like, there is truly no coming back from this, just like there was no coming back for the Nazis after World War II ended, hence why a lot of them fucking killed themselves, because they couldn't live with the guilt and the ridicule for the crimes against humanity that they committed.
These testimonies were so hard to hear. You effing Republican representative didn't even show up. Yep. Just stop being the worst version of yourself, ideally. Yeah. Did you see he
Even if
gave
they felt
100 biddies? Nope. I didn't see anything.
nothing,
didn't see nothing
for their victims. A lot of them still couldn't reintegrate back into society due to the scorn and ridicule that they felt from their friends and family. And even though you're all covering your faces like pussies to insulate yourselves from eventual prosecution, that's not going to change the fact that your fate has already been sealed. It's too late for you. For the rest of your lives, you're going to live with the thought of rejection.
Yeah, and your face mask won't cover you from your family. Your face mask won't cover you from your friends. They know who you are. They know who you are. The whole innocent until proven guilty is a relative Western judicial idea, one I'd like to keep, but one that isn't guaranteed with the game they are playing at the moment. If they really do plan for it to end in civil war. Abolish ICE indeed. Carlos Wildride with the 100 biddies. I appreciate that. Thank you. As if a hypothetical future Nuremberg 2.0 trials cannot assume mere proof of membership in the organization is good enough. Yeah, of course. I mean, there's 100% ways of proving, right? Like, of proving the crimes that you did. A lot of these people have recorded it. A lot of these people have recorded it with their own cell phones. They seem to forget we know who all the January 6ers are because of their families ratted them out. Yep. Even if they have a mask, they have geotags. Yep. We can do the Inglorious Bastard treatment. Leave my play police alone. They're so good.
Every single new person that you meet, you're going to catastrophize about the day that they found out about your time with ICE or the Border Patrol Gestapo. And no matter how gently you break it to them, they will never accept you. Telling people you're an ICE agent will be as shocking to them as if you told them you were a literal Hitlerian Nazi or a fucking pedophile. The toxicity of that label will never, ever dissipate. I can assure you of that, because the descriptions of the crimes that you've committed,
they're on video, right? Like this is like what these freaks, these ICE agents don't seem to understand. It's on video and it's everywhere. The internet is forever. Okay, the internet is forever. All of the stuff that's very clearly documented on internet, not just by you, but by everyone around and brave observers who have. Hello, people. Are we good? Okay, we gotta keep it moving, because I've got a feeling that OBS is starting to act up. Yeah, there's street cams all over. Those door cams are linked to the NSA. There's recordings everywhere. On top of that, on top of the fact we will absolutely be able to prove at least some specifics, 100%. I thought I was stroking out. No, it's just OBS.
Burned into the minds of every American who learned about the atrocities you carried out in future history books. Now, having said all of that, I do appreciate the people who know them that candidly shared their experiences about these thugs and confirmed what we already suspected about them. They're unintelligent, irredeemable pieces.
Yeah, I'm gonna try doing that. I could have sworn OBS did an automatic update, but I'll try doing that, because I don't know. OBS has been doing me dirty for a while. So I don't know.
Of shit who make the world a worse place. Like, not surprising, but it's nice to read about that.
No shade to OBS, by the way. I love OBS.
Didn't really need the confirmation from their friends and family, but if you didn't know, now you do.
When you acting like a
beta. Okay, we're gonna speed run. Check your temps right now. That's a good idea. I need to run a test. I think the memory usage is probably fine. I wish I could see, like, memory is great. I wish I could see the temperature. Like, memory is great. I'm at like 46% memory, 22% of CPU. I've got plenty of headroom. Yeah, of course your family hates you if you join the SS. I might have to like do a stress test and see what's happening with regards to the temperature, because that may actually be bottlenecking some stuff. Maybe. You can deal a core temp app, then it will show you the temperature in Task Manager along with usage if using Windows. Yep. YouTube always runs away with memory on Chrome on mine. Yeah, I've got one YouTube tab. But I don't know. I'll have to check, because that might be it. That's why I may be dealing with all these griefs. I don't know. If your cores aren't maxed, it's unlikely a temperature issue. No, none of this is at its high capacity. It seems like I have plenty of headroom, so I don't know. I don't know if it's just software. I don't know if this computer is just getting on the older side. It's quite a few years, but I don't know. But anyways. So on that topic, maybe your CPU is just doomering and sad. I don't blame it. The Department of Homeland Security has been quietly demanding tech companies to turn over user information about the critics of Trump administration, according to the reports. In several cases in recent months, Homeland Security has relied on the use of administrative subpoenas to seek identify information about individuals who run anonymous Instagram accounts which share posts about ICE immigration raids in their local neighborhoods. These subpoenas have also been used to demand information about people who have criticized Trump officials or protested government policy. Yeah, that's cool. Unlike judicial subpoenas, which are approved by a judge after seeing enough evidence of a crime to authorize the search and seizure of someone's things, an administrative subpoena are issued by federal agencies, allowing investigators to seek a wealth of information about individuals from tech and phone companies without a judicial oversight. That is awesome! While the administrative subpoenas cannot be used to obtain the contents of a person's email, online searches, or location data, they can demand information specifically about the user, such as what time a user logs in, from where, using which device, and revealing the email addresses and other identifying information about who opened an online account. This is why operational security is incredibly important. And use a VPN, folks. I don't know if that completely insulates you, but it's certainly better than nothing. Appreciate that, Vidingale. I appreciate that. It could also have the subject also and AI. They had certain programs specified to degrade audio and video quality of stuff in real time for some time after realizing people grade trustability on audio and video quality to a large degree. Yep. My cat devil tried sending you guys a message, but I deleted it. No, I need to hear what the devil has said. I need to hear the message from the devil. Just be aware of who owns the VPN. Not all are created equal, and some owned by data miners. That's true. I like Proton VPN. But of course, please do your own research. To make sure. TOS. Movad. That's another VPN. VOD is the only one I trust. I need to look into that. Proton is free, basically. New programming accepted. Administrative subpoenas are not new. These use of self-signed demands by the Trump officials to seek identify information about people who are critical of the president's policies has raised alarm. Yeah, you think? Bloomberg reported last week that Homeland Security sought to identify the anonymous Instagram account called Montco Watch, which says its goal is to share resources to help immigrants to protect immigrant rights and due process across Montgomery County in Pennsylvania. This comes amid an ongoing federal immigration crackdown across the United States, i.e., it's not an immigration crackdown. I'm sorry. I know that the mainstream media keeps talking like this because essentially it's kind of like ceding the point to the administration that this is about immigration. But no, the ethnic cleansing, the targeting of minorities across the country, which has drawn widespread protests and condemnation because, it's a bunch of Nazi shit, Nice. I know Pearl. DuckDuckGo is another one. Yeah. MoveOut is not free, but it's very affordable. Their servers don't even have hard drives. It's physically impossible for them to store any data about you. I like that. I like that idea. I'm gonna look into that. This comes amid an ongoing ethnic targeting across the country, which has drawn widespread protests and condemnation. Homeland Security lawyers sent an administrative subpoena to Meta, demanding it turn over personal information to the person who runs the account, citing a non-Homeland Security employee who claimed to receive a tip that ICE agents were being stalked. The ACLU, representing the account owner, said there's no evidence of wrongdoing and that recording police sharing that recording and doing so anonymously is legal and protected under the First Amendment. It is. 1000%. Homeland Security withdrew its subpoena without providing an explanation. So, yeah, you see, that's what you kind of have to do. Know your rights and be prepared to stand up to these bullies. 100%. Often, if it's free, you are the product, but VPN, very handy, but the state and state-facing actors have been in the market for a bit, so you have to do research. Yeah, 100%. It's not like, you know, I need, like, super security, but it's more like, it adds, like, a little bit of layer, to me, I think. But yeah, I mean, if these people want this information, they're gonna get it. So obviously this is not an isolated incident, but the point being, because we got to keep going, is that, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we should expect from an authoritarian regime. And the problem is capital capitulating is a guarantee. Okay, all these companies, Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, Twitter, this is not safe. So be aware that these people are trying, and in some cases successfully, obtaining data that they're not supposed to obtain. And operational security, being mindful of what you post online, is something that we should all be paying attention to. The harder it is to profile you, the less likely they are to put in energy to manipulate you either. Yep. It might be Proton. I mean, I heard good things about Proton, especially like with email. A lot of like journalists use Proton because it's supposed to be secure, but I don't know. So apparently, it is more apparent that they have not reached a deal funding DHS, which is a good thing. This is a good thing. For all the uselessness of Democrats, it seems like they can't make a deal to fund DHS, which I'm pretty much okay with. I'm pretty much okay with. And all those ICE agents that were previously complaining about not getting paid, well, guess what? Well, guess what, losers? Get prepared to not get paid even more. I hope so. I hope that's what happens. I hope that's what happens. Needless to say, the overwhelming amount of Americans think that ICE has gone too far in, quote, immigration enforcement. I mean, like, this is obvious. This isn't, like, we don't really need to make sure, we don't need to, like, take a deep dive into this. but it's pretty obvious that people are getting tired. Are getting tired of the Gestapo showing up in their neighborhoods and messing up people in their neighborhoods. If only Trump stiffing people on money he owes had been well known before these chuds signed up. If only. I'm downloading the Reddit archives from 2012 to 22 right now. I'm interested in looking at the connections between these Epstein files to Reddit posts. I mean, look at the QAnon stuff and see. I'm sure you'll find those files, those connections. This is pretty broke. They can assign funding, but where do they actually get funds? They get funds from taxes, yeah? On the heels of 2 fatal shootings or murders of citizens in Minnesota at the hands of ICE agents, 65% of Americans said immigration customs has gone, quote, too far. President Trump is facing the highest intensity of disapproval since just after January 6th of 2021, which was the insurrection. Nazis do be so tiresome. Yep. The percentage of those ICE is saying that those ICE has gone too far in enforcing immigration is at an 11-point increase since last summer. It's driven by independents and Democrats. Both groups went up by double digits. Yeah, this is yeah. I think right here is the goal right here. You see that? You see that? That's disaster. If you are the Republicans, this is disaster. This is disaster. Supposedly the one issue, right? Immigration, right? And Trump is just spiraling. The administration is spiraling at this point. They have a lot more expenses and taxes of delaying paychecks as a favorite corporate solution to cash flow issues. True. Schumer is so pathetic at doing opposition. I agree. And yet somehow they couldn't come to an agreement to fund the DHS. So somehow we stumbled into that one, okay? I'm not giving Chuck Schumer credit. I'm just saying good. Go on, Kitty. Go on. Is there even a structure for removing Schumer as a leader in the DNC? Voting him out, but that has to be like by the Democratic Party. Sorry, folks. Whew. My cat just started being a cat and knocking stuff down. Anyways. Right, if we knew what was going on behind the scenes, we'd probably know that it's despite Schumer and his best efforts to capitulate. Yeah, somehow he's managed to stumble himself here, but, you know. I mean, he's decided to be leader from within the party. Can't they decide to pick a new leader? They can. Because right now, if a plan to stop any of this shit involves in voting in November, that's not a good plan. It's not enough. It's not enough, obviously. And I agree with you. And that should kind of point you in where we're at, Tropical Ding Dong, because they can replace Chuck Schumer as a leader at any point, should they want to. Just saying. At any point, they could be like, you know what, this isn't working. All right, Chuck, you're out. So this is cool. Steve Bannon calls for Trump to deploy ICE and military troops to polling sites. This is not going to happen, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but this is more to illustrate the mentality, and what the kind of and the kind of stuff that these people are pushing for, and the kind of stuff that we have to watch out for. There has to be targeted regular strikes now, or we have fascism. Yes, that is, we can't rely simply on just the Democratic Party. They're not coming to help, okay? What Michael Hasser is saying is correct. What Michael Hasser is saying is correct. They can, as a rule, the Democratic Party remains part of the problem. Chuck Schumer still being leader is a symptom of that. Yeah, it's exactly where what I'm hinting and winking at. They can, at any point, can say, Chuck, you're done. We need somebody who can meet the moment, and they're not. Which begs the question, why? Do not trust political. All they do is lie. They're fake news. They're facts that are actually lies, not to be trusted, especially their posts that make me look really bad. MAGA commentator, and he's not like this. This is again, he's not just a MAGA commentator, by the way. He's pretty within Trump's inner circle. Voice support for Trump's push to nationalize elections, calling on the president to deploy ICE officials and military troops to polling sites, a thing that I don't expect to happen, but nonetheless. Trump said in a Monday podcast interview that Republicans ought to nationalize the voting, despite the fact that the Constitution grants states explicit jurisdiction over election administration. His call sparked outrage from Democrats and largely fell on deaf ears in the GOP, but Bannon, a conservative, quote, firebrand, you mean a fascist. You mean a fascist. The conservative firebrand, you mean a fascist political. The word you're looking for is fascist, but okay. Who has been a prominent voice in election conspiracy theories, was forceful in his support for the idea. The former White House strategist called for the administration to send ICE to polling sites to prevent non-citizens from voting, citing a debunked conspiracy theory about widespread voter fraud in 2020. We're going to have ICE surround the polls come November. We're not going to sit here and allow you to steal the country again, Bannon said. And you can whine and cry and throw your toys out the pram all you want, but you will never again allow an election. This is so like 1984. This is crazy. This is insane. To say that they have to deploy the secret police. Okay, the federal, mind you, these people are the same people that are in power, okay? They're saying that they have to deploy the secret police so that the elections can never be stolen again. Gotcha. Why? Because no one else wants it? I mean, and also, it just seems like the Democratic Party leadership, the Democratic leadership is just not there. It's just not there. You have like some people trying to fight, but overall, the leadership, the upper echelon of the Democratic Party is just not. They're just out to lunch in terms of like how they should be responding to all of this, right? Most DNC Democrats are bought out by donor interests that do not allow them to do any real advocacy on behalf of the people. Yep. It's wild to think that Bannon was once banished to Europe, where he exported it over there and then returned to the U.S. to finish the job here. Also noted, Steve Bannon is also in the Epstein files. Unions and such can't really strike if it's an industry that would disrupt society. They do work, though. If nothing else, they slow stuff down, but it needs to be a real, recent social media one. It won't come from Nurses Union or something. It can't. Yeah, I mean, but it has to be a general strike, like, completely. There should be an ongoing, funded, Dem counter messaging program from the start of this administration. Daily press conferences on the Capitol steps. Chuck is useless as leader. Yep. Breaking news, Bannon is on the Epstein files. Yep. The problem right now is Schumer and Jeffries. Right now they are damaging Dems' ability to perform come November, and they need to be replaced today. Yeah. Yeah. They're trying to avoid all the voters whose name did not match their birth certificates, even spouses who took their partner's name. Yep, they're trying to do that with the SAFE Act. The conservative influencers reiterated his response a day later, calling for Trump to go even further and send U.S. Army troops to voting locations. Federal law prohibits the president from deploying military troops at any place where a general or special election is held, and it is a crime in several states to carry a firearm at or near a polling place. I'm so glad that this is against the law. Counter argument, they don't care. President Trump has to nationalize the election. You've got to put not just ICE, you got to call up the 82nd and 101st Airborne Division on the Insurrection Act. You got to get around every poll and make sure that only people with IDs, people actually register to vote, and people that are United States citizens vote in this election. I've got good news for Mr. Bannon. That's pretty much what happens in every election. Democrats have raised alarms in recent months that Trump could send troops at polling sites, expressing concern over the possibility of voter intimidation. I mean, like, this is voter intimidation by definition. Like, this is voter intimidation already. Gotta bounce. Arrivederci. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it. One of the most recent Bannon mentions are about him trying to manage Epstein's image during and after trial. Yep. Trump has repeatedly floated the idea of invoking the Insurrection Act, the 19th century law, yada yada yada. He threatened to use the law to send troops to Minnesota last month, and then he didn't. He didn't because he knows that things are getting spicy. Trump's push to consolidate federal power of elections comes as the administration has escalated pressure on Democratic-led states to share voter information with the federal government, with the Justice Department suing nearly 24 states for their voter rolls and the FBI seizing the 2020 ballots from an election facility in Georgia. After the 2020 presidential election, Trump considered signing an executive order that would have directed the military to seize voting machines, but he ultimately never followed through on the threat. He told the New York Times in an interview last month that he should have used the National Guard to seize election boxes, but did not say whether he would have considered so in the future. Democrats swiftly condemned this call his call to nationalize elections, with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer composing a very strongly worded letter. Thank you, Chuck, saying it's outlandishly illegal. Well, yeah, we know that, Chuck. And Senator Tim Kaine referring to it as an authoritarian takeover of our electoral process. Yeah. All true. So what are we doing about it? Still, Trump pushed forward with the threat on Tuesday, telling reporters in the Oval Office that states are merely agents of the federal government, an incorrect interpretation of the Constitution's delegation of election administration duties. But Republican lawmakers were reluctant to rally around the threat, with Speaker Mike Johnson acknowledging that it has always been the responsibility of the states to administer elections. Senate Majority Leader John Thune also expressed skepticism, saying that he's not in favor of federalizing elections. Man. These are things to watch out for, folks. I'm not saying that this is going to happen just because Steve Bannon says so. But that doesn't mean that we drop our guard. That doesn't mean we drop our guard. Keeping physically fit is one way to resist fascism. Can't man the barricades if you're breathing heavy. I mean, true. It's also just good for your health, you know? Those that can. There's only one John you can trust, and it's definitely not Thune. Ah! No. It happened in Grass Valley, California in 2024. Wait, what happened? That's why I'm sick of disc golf. Never done that. Never done that. Oh, militia showing up at voting spot. Yeah, but these are like private militias that decided to show up. I'm talking about like the government, you know, deciding that they're going to be the ones to do this. Let's not forget climate change is still ongoing. Yep. That still hasn't gone away either. The way I see it, the way I see it is the climate crisis isn't going anywhere. And the climate crisis isn't going to get better. And we can't do anything about it so long as there's a fascist movement to prevent us from going anywhere with it anyways. Let's not forget yes, cops did nothing. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm just saying, like, this time it's the government sending their own personal secret police, or threatening to send their own secret police. Cops will always take the side of these freaks anyways. The only John I trust flushes after I use it. In fact, completely not addressing it will make it even worse. I agree. I agree. We just can't do anything at the current present moment. With the current state of things, it's kind of crappy to think about. It's kind of crappy to think about because, like, there's no movement. We can't progress. It's been frozen. It's been frozen. We are actually increasing emissions. Yeah. Yes. All right, folks, I gotta get out of here. It's just about over 7 o'clock. Folks, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you to Fighting Gale for the massive raid. Thank you for the folks on YouTube. I appreciate it. Yeah, time for Impossible Burgers. Actually, they're pretty good. I've had. Big fan. Big fan. Big fan. If you want to support the channel, folks, check out the links. Do all the things. Thank you for everyone that participated in the hype train. Thank you for kicking it off. You guys made it to level freaking 2, man. Thank you so much. Carla's Wild Ride, Heat with the Biddies, Judgment Free Zone with the Biddies, Wolf Clan, Judgment Free Zone with the with 2 tier 1 gifted subs. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys are what makes this channel go. If you want to support the channel more directly, check out all the links, and please support my show on this space. It is a working class media collective. I do my show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for modding the chat. W mods indeed. Once again, huge shout out to inviting Gail for bringing your wonderful community over. And I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you all. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one, Monday, about 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya.
Which is time to hear me say, "All my life and His ways, life's a breeze of shining sails. Don't believe
I do have that option on Twitch.
looking for change on the subway train. Looking for change on the subway train. Looking for change." Watch the city pass by my eyes. 40 miles per hour under the sky. People stare and they judge me. Don't believe it if you please.
All right, folks, hang tight.
Change on the subway trail. Looking for change on the subway trail. Looking for change.
Ground level news. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye bye.